How's it going, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back. So tonight I want to do a video. Basically, it's been really trendy on YouTube where people do videos of bands that they hate. You know, like top 10 bands that I hate. I really, it's hard for me to really hate any bands overall. That's why I put it like a question mark at the end of it, because overall, I don't have to listen to any music that I don't like. But like, this is really more of like a video kind of showing like 10 bands that I would never add to my collection, like I've never really liked, or maybe I listened to them on the radio back in the day when I listened to the radio a lot more often, and maybe I would kind of listen to some of their songs a couple times and then maybe change the channel after a while. But there's still some of these bands that if I hear them on the radio, I may not turn it necessarily. Especially if it's been a while since I've heard it. Maybe I'll let it play if I like the radio station where they play mostly music that I like. You know, I'll just let it go, let it play through, and then see who the next band is, and kind of judge whether I want to change the station based on that. But I've noticed a lot of people in their videos have trashed Foo Fighters, which I actually like Foo Fighters. I was like 19 or 20 when Nirvana was really big at the time, and you know Dave Grohl started Foo Fighters like in '95 or so, kind of as just like a side project kind of thing, something to do where in the first album he played all the songs on it, and then like, but for me, I really like the Foo Fighters, like their second and third album, The Color and the Shape. Tonight I was at like a Kroger getting groceries, and they were playing the song Hero. I think it's a great song. Love that album. I think for the second album, I think it's phenomenal. The third album too was called There Is Nothing Left to Lose. A lot of stuff I love on that. After that, a lot of stuff the Foo Fighters did, I very much hit or miss. For me, I would definitely say that they're very overrated. So, you know, to say I hate them, I can't say that, because like I said, I have all the albums of the Foo Fighters in my collection. So it's just other people but it seemed like they're making these videos just so they can point out that they hate the Foo Fighters. Yeah, I know back in like 2002, Dave Grohl he basically joined Queens of the Stone Age. He was ready to disband Foo Fighters and just become a drummer again in Queens of the Stone Age. And if it's Songs for the Deaf is an amazing album, and who knows, I made it. It would have been great if he had stayed in that band for a while, but I think he felt like he was letting the record company down and letting his bandmates down, and fans down. So, all right, so going into the 10 bands here, like I said, these are bands like, even if I saw their CD for like $1 used, I wouldn't buy anything from these bands. I just don't have room in my collection for bands that I don't really like all that much. But so in 1995, there was a band that I thought was kind of pretentious in a lot of ways, and the band is Oasis. 1995, they had their kind of the big breakthrough album, What's the Story, Morning Glory. And I never liked the Gallagher or Gallagher brothers. Never liked them. They're considered to be, they're listed as Brit pop and rock. You know, they were like, I think at the time in the 90s, they were considered to be like maybe like the new Beatles. So I never thought, no, there's no way they're the new Beatles. They had a couple songs like Wonderwall and Champagne Supernova, I think are decent songs. Those are the ones, even today, if I hear those songs on the radio, when I do listen to the radio, I probably won't turn it, because I haven't heard those songs, very often in quite a while. But for me, I think Oasis is definitely overrated. Okay, so at number 9, I have Blink-182. This is something like back in the 90s. I liked Green Day, back then, anyways. They were doing like the kind of pop punk kind of thing, and then Blink-182 came along, and they had like What's My Age Again and All the Small Things. I never got into them. I thought they were kind of a joke. I've heard some people say they're not very good live. I just couldn't take them seriously. Like punk rock was like popular in the late 70s, early 80s, and that was kind of like when punk rock kind of died around 83 or so. So like a band like this comes along and they're making this kind of commercial pop punk kind of music, and I never got into that. I know that they have fans out there. Let me know what you think of Blink-182 in the comments. All right, so at number 8, I have The Strokes. In 2001, they had this album called Is This It? And I was kind of asking the same question at the time. Like I didn't like their guitar tone, didn't like their vocals, didn't like their lyrics. This band was kind of popular at the time. I couldn't quite figure out why. just like I said, they were way too light for me. I was mostly into like hard rock and metal at the time, and so for me, I've never connected with them. I think they have some songs like "Hard to Explain," "Last Night," "Someday." I never gotten into them. I think maybe somebody that kind of like lighter rock probably get into a band like that. It's just like I never understood that guitar tone and that kind of strumming kind of guitar playing. I've never understood that, and I just couldn't figure out why anybody liked this band. Okay, so at number 7, this one might kind of surprise people, maybe upset some people, but I have Slipknot. I know this band's really popular with some like metalheads. You know, I love metal, but for some reason I've never gotten to that, like the imagery they have. They're all wearing like different masks and that kind of thing. And I like nowadays I like Ghost. You know, they have like the Nameless Ghouls, and they all wear like the same mask, except for, you know, Tobias Forge has a different, you know, like makeup that he wears, but the rest of the band all wear the same, you know, the same mask. But with this band, you know, like the song Duality, I like them. I like that from Slipknot, but for me, I just maybe the imagery kind of turned me off from them. I've never really heard anything else that I've like, you know, loved from them. You know, let me know in the comments what you like from Slipknot. You know, like I said, I know they're extremely popular. I just never gotten into them. I don't think I'll ever like ever buy anything from them. But let me know if maybe I should give like greatest hits a listen or something like that and see. Okay, so number 6, I have Breaking Benjamin. This band used to tour all the time with 3 Days Grace, which I actually like 3 Days Grace. They're a Canadian band, especially like the first 4 albums. I really like that stuff. I thought musicianship overall between those two bands was pretty wide. And just seeing Breaking Benjamin play live before, just like they didn't impress me. I was not, I was not influenced to go out and buy anything from them. And I always thought they were kind of overshadowed by usually the band after them was usually like 3 Days Grace, and like you could tell that the talent range was quite different. Like one band was quite a bit less talented, and then 3 Days Grace just kind of showed how good those guys were. And so to me, it's like a lot of their songs. I can't really mention any songs that I've ever really liked from Breaking Benjamin. So it's like, so let me know in the comments if you've ever liked anything from them. Maybe I should check out more from them. But okay, so number 5. Now I'm going to start getting into the bands that a lot of people kind of list that they don't like. But I've got Nickelback. This band, I was hoping I really would like them. They're another Canadian band. Obviously, the song Rockstar, like you couldn't turn, anytime you turned on the radio back in the day in 2005 or 2006, you were going to hear Rockstar. It played everywhere. You go to like a bar, people would cover that song. Like they were popular for like maybe 4 or 5 years, you know, and you just heard them all the time on the radio. And like maybe that's part of the thing. Like you can just, if you want to hear Nickelback and just turn the radio on, you can, you know, check them out there. And they just they burn out basically, just overplayed, way overpopular, you know, just and overrated big time. And now, you know, what is it, Chad Kroeger? You listen to him, look at him now. You couldn't tell. You know, back then he had like those blonde streaks in his hair, and you look at him now, you wouldn't recognize him. He looks completely different, like much shorter hair. I don't think he has like a facial hair like he used to. So for me, that, you know, Nickelback is one I think a lot of us can agree that they're way overrated, and you know, like I said, I wouldn't call them a band that I hate, but they're a band that I avoid at all costs nowadays. All right, so number 4, I have Staind. Staind was a band I saw I saw them once live in the 90s. Maybe it may have been like early 2000s, but this band, like they've always depressed me. Obviously, Aaron Lewis, maybe he has had like a history of mental illness, which is a serious thing. But when I saw them live, like every other song was really slow and like depressing, and it just really bummed me out. You know? that's like some of the songs I heard on the radio, and I can nowadays if I hear anything from Staind, I have to turn them off. It just depresses me. Things have probably changed now. I think now that Aaron Lewis he's kind of gotten through some of that the depression kind of stage, but it always brought me down. Like I just like back in the 90s, like, a lot of the bands were like grunge bands were kind of like some ways depressed, and you know, I can kind of listen to that because that music was really heavy. But then, you know, Staind came along, and it was slow. It wasn't really very heavy. And it was depressing. So it's like when I saw them live, like I thought, no, I'm never gonna buy. I already didn't like them at that time when I saw them live, but just after seeing them live, like they did not sell me on the band. Okay, so number 3, I have Imagine Dragons. This band, they're listed as pop rock, electro pop, pop, arena rock, alternative rock, and indie pop. It's like I've never thought they were like a rock band. They may have been kind of like a rock rap, sort of kind of like that. Maybe they had some songs that I've heard before and that I don't think are horrible necessarily, but It's Time, Radioactive, Demons, stuff like that. You hear them sometimes on the radio, and like they're not a band that, like, if I hear their music, I don't know immediately who they are. Then you find out later that song was from them, and so to me, I think they're way overrated. Some people, they've been popular before. I think they've won Grammys and that kind of thing. To me, I just never could get into them. I never considered them to be like a rock band. So, and they weren't very heavy. And there's like those 3 singles I've heard a lot, before. I think they're okay, but I'll never be buying anything from them. And I'm sure I don't know if anybody's really mentioned Imagine Dragons in their videos. Okay, so number 2, if you watch any of these videos, you're probably going to have these top 2 bands on there. But number 2, I have Limp Bizkit. Obviously, it's the singer is Fred Durst. It has Wes Borland. I think he's actually an outstanding guitar player, but it's too bad he's not in a band I actually like. Obviously, Limp Bizkit's known for like Nookie, Break Stuff, Rollin'. They also did a cover of the song Faith years ago. But this band's kind of a joke kind of band. I think Fred Durst kind of said he started this band as a joke, and then they kind of took off. People actually kind of liked them, and so they just kind of took off. And they've been doing stuff with Corey Feldman. I think they've been playing like live festivals with him. I just don't understand them, but they obviously have a fan base that people are going to pay concert tickets to see them. So I think they broke up for a long time, and they reunited, I think, in 2023, 24. So, but for me, I'm staying far away from Limp Bizkit. I just cannot listen to their music. I don't want to see them live. Okay, so at number 1, obviously I have Kid Rock. Obviously, late 90s, they had this album called Devil Without a Cause. I just never understood why he's been popular. He had the song Ba to the Ba and Cowboy and Only God Knows Why. Those songs I can kind of tolerate listening to, but he's known now for doing like a country rap kind of thing. I don't know why. He does whatever he can do to make a living, apparently, but he back in the late 90s, he was supposed to be like a rapper. I've never understood him why he's popular as a rapper, but yeah, I think he's from like near like the Detroit somewhere, and he's always kind of had this kind of like street gang kind of bully kind of attitude. I've never liked his music. I never really liked him necessarily. And he seems like he's maybe somewhat of a nice guy, but not somebody I would ever want to ever meet. He has fans out there. People buy his music, so obviously, if you like Kid Rock, good for you. But he's not for me, though. All right, everybody. So this is all on good fun. But let me know in the comments what you think of these 10 bands I mentioned. Obviously, I mentioned Foo Fighters, and like I said, a lot of people have taken the time to list them in their top 10 bands that they hate. Obviously, I understand Foo Fighters are overrated. I understand that after that 3rd album, I think a lot of stuff they did was like hit or miss. The song Best of You, I think, is one of the worst songs I've ever heard. I've never liked it. I never really liked that album, In Your Honor. I think that whole album is just kind of forgettable. It's like a 2-disc album, but all the songs are forgettable, in my opinion. But a lot of stuff they did after that 3rd album, to me, are kind of hit or miss. Had some good songs in there, but overall, not a lot of great albums in that band's catalog. But please, if not already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing that. And please put a thumbs up on this video. It helps my channel out. And everybody have a great one.